You know what? I just love saying black. I just love saying black.
Meet Dr. Tru Powell, an award-winning entrepreneur and personal branding expert who's changing the game in his city. With a vision for success and a passion for community building, Tru's innovative ideas and tireless work ethic have earned him the respect and admiration of his peers.
The reason why I love saying black, because usually black is associated historically with negative connotations. In the media, it's black gang or black crime, or always most certainly associated with, negative. As hard as it is and as unequal as things are, I wouldn't be any other race, I wouldn't be any other ethnicity. I think black is powerful, black is unique, black is cool, black is hip. Everybody wants to be black, and long live black. Long live black. We need to collaborate more, and you're right, we are segregated, we don't support each other, but I don't believe that it's all our fault. I believe it's society's fault.
Welcome on the podcast, Tru. Nice to have you on. Thank you for coming down.
Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you, Tru. Definitely means a lot. First met you at the Gen Z event, and also a friend of my mother.
Yeah.
Shout out my mom. Shout out my mom. All right, let's just get started. So, one of the main things I've seen a lot of your pages through the news articles was the meaning of being black, and being a black man was spoken about a lot. In fact, I got one specific quote which was mentioned when it was just said here, how you said, when you was younger, black masculinity seemed less because you didn't want to play football at the time.
Did that bring up memories?
Yeah.
So you know what I'm talking about.
We're just jumping straight in, isn't it? Just straight. Yeah. But now I think it's important to discuss, and I think for me, growing up in the inner city, Newtown / B6, growing up in the inner city, it was actually quite difficult to work out where I fitted, because here you have a young black boy, and actually both me and my brother, so we were twins, identical twins, but here you have two young black boys in an inner city where it's an area that's primarily, breeds gang culture and violence and all sorts of things, and don't get me wrong, there was some amazing parts to my childhood and growing up, and there's some incredible things about Newtown and Aston. You walk down the street and there's a barbecue happening. It's just it's just like amazing. But some of the negative parts to it was toxic black masculinity, because here you have two young boys and who wanted to sing and dance and partake in the creative and performing arts sector, but there was nothing really out there other than football or sports. But if you didn't want to partake in those sports activities, then you were viewed and seen as less than, and that led to ridiculing and ostracizing, and to the point where actually it was just like, all right, cool. Me and my brother would just rock and roll and do what we need to do. And we had a couple of friends, and our family was huge, so we didn't really need friends. We've got 5 brothers and 1 sister, but there's 7 of us all together. So we had a huge family and loads of cousins. Yeah. But yeah, it was actually quite a difficult experience, kind of growing up in Newtown and wanting or having a desire to sing and dance. And we did it anyway, like, of course, because that's who we are and that's what we do. And but it could have been easier if this toxic black masculinity wasn't around, where, you're seen less than if you want to partake in I guess the non-traditional, extracurricular activity, i.e. football, sport, basketball, whatever it is. So yeah, it's
I wanted to ask, how did you overcome it? Because you said it was a lack of opportunities where you grew up. So did you go outside of the area? No. So we did it anyway. So we found different kind of hubs. So Wallace Lawler was
was one of our main spots where we used to kind of practice and dance and sing. And there was another group that we were a part of at Holt Leisure Centre, and we met every Friday. But I think one of the things that I promised myself both of us did when we were younger, was because there was lack of opportunity for us, when we grow up, we're going to create something or be involved in something that provides those opportunities for, that black inner city boy. And I'm glad that we did. And now we have our academy, which kind of primarily does that. So I'm super proud of that. And I'm super proud that that's been birthed, if you like, out of our adversary when we were younger.
So why do you feel like, especially, I grew up in Newtown as well. I also had friends in Newtown, and a lot of them did take that gang path and either in prison or doing a lot worse. And I just want to ask you, why do you think it is these boys take this path?
Loads of reasons. I could be here all day. Lack of opportunity, economical deprivation, not having any, not having any way out, the need to feel wanted, particularly if there's no father in the home. We, as beings, we tend to find and seek love and acceptance elsewhere, and usually that is with a gang, because they kind of treat you as family, and you tend to, this isn't my philosophy, this is stats and figures. You tend to find that comfort in different things. It's quite textbook, actually. So I think there's quite a few different reasons as to why people choose a particular lifestyle. I don't believe it's anybody's fault. I think it's the fault of the government for...
Oh, you do?
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Give an example.
For that. Because it's the lack of opportunity. If you're going to strip all the youth clubs away from the young people, then what are you expecting them to do? If you're not giving enough, if you're not pumping enough money and resources into a community, then how do you think they're going to eat? How do you think they're going to live? How do you think they're going to survive? And I think it's important that we address some of the root issues. And unfortunately, the root issues usually fall down to lack of opportunity, lack of resources. And it's up to the government to start pumping into the community. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not for 1 minute saying, these gangbangers are blameless, because, you know right from wrong, but they're not given the same head start as their counterparts. Okay. So you can't look at them equally and think, okay, if a white boy from Solihull was to, commit crime for whatever reason, or, join a gang for whatever reason, his reasons for joining the gang might be significantly different for a black boy who doesn't really have any opportunity, who needs to do some of these things to survive, will be significantly different to the white boy who just wants to be bad and thinks that, I want to be bad and throwing up gang signs and to impress his friends. So I think we have to address and look at some of the root causes as to why people, especially from the inner city, who don't really have any opportunities or access, why they feel the need that they have to join a gang, sell drugs, rob, steal, and all of these things.
So how do you think, as a black man who has made it out of the inner city, how do you think you've inspired younger black men to escape the inner city? Or would you even have a message to help them escape it?
100%. I would always say, and for me, how I managed, and I say got out like it was some kind of prison, and it's not. My mum still has a house in the inner city, so I've still got family here, so I'm always back and forth to Newtown and Aston, and I work in Aston and on some occasions. But for me, I always say, know your goal, know where you want to get to, and understand how you're going to get there. And a large part of me securing what I've got is not, you know, it's not because of me. It's not because of me not wanting to get there or not wanting or not having the right way. It's me just knowing this is where I want to get to and this is what I have to do to get there. And this is the route that I'm going to take. And unfortunately, where I wanted to get, gang life just wouldn't get me there. It would probably get me halfway, then I'd probably be dead or in prison. So it's just, for me, it was, okay, I've got to work. I've got to run my own business if I want to get to a place where that I'll be financially free. I've got to, you know, build a strong network. I've got to be educated. You know, I've got to make sure that I get some form of education. I've got to know how the world works. I've got to be able to critically think and analyze, and I've got to open up my mindset. You know, I've got to be exposed to different things so I can believe that it's real and achievable. And I think there is life outside of the inner city. And I think sometimes we don't, as people that grew up in the inner city, sometimes we don't believe that there's life outside. We believe that this is it for us. And, you know, I still have family, aunties, uncles, you know, cousins that live in the inner city. And this is no shade to them because I love them to bits. But part of the reason why they're still in the inner city is because they can't see life outside of it. They can't visualize life outside of that, of what they already have. And you know, that's a huge shame, a huge shame. Think big, always think big, always think, how could I take myself out of this? How could I, you know, level up to the next level? You know, I seen my house in Sutton. I was like, by the time I hit a certain age, I'm going to have a 5-bedroom house in Sutton, Coalfield.
Did you visit it before you actually went there?
I used to go around to different houses, and
really?
Yeah, I used to go around to different houses and look and visualize like that's gonna be like where my car's gonna sit. That's gonna be like all the time, and I still do it now. I still do it to mansions. I have friends and stuff now that own and live in mansions, and I go around there and I'm like, wow, this is where I need to be. Like I can see me being here, and my swimming pool there, and my bedroom there, and the tennis courts. You have to visualize it. Yeah, and you have to know that it can be achieved. Otherwise, what's the point?
At what age did you know it could be achieved, though?
I always knew. I always knew that I would achieve whatever I put my mind to. Always. There was never a doubt in my mind, ever. Because if there's another human being on this planet that's achieved something, then I can achieve it too. Because guess what? They're just a normal human being, just like me. Just like they're no different. Yes, we might have different starts in life. Yes, they might have a bit more access than me. You know, yes, it might not be an equal level playing field. But at the end of the day, they are still human. And if they can do it, so can I.
Yeah. All right. So I heard a thing you mentioned about why a lot of young kids fall into gangs is because they have no father. And I'm saying, when you went to Gen Z event, correct me if I'm wrong, you said your father wasn't as in your life. So I want to know, how did that affect you with your upbringing, having no father?
Wow. To be honest, and this is something I don't really speak about, and not because I don't want to, just because it's so irrelevant to me.
Why is it relevant?
Because my dad hasn't been in my life since I was 3. Okay. I'm 38 now, so I just think there's no point kind of thing. And what was the question? How did it affect me?
I could imagine growing up without a father. It could be very difficult for some, and I know it takes a different place for everybody else.
Yeah.
Especially for guidance, because Because I've seen something which I know if you've done with your kids recently. You took them to Rashford's Memorial and signed a letter for Saka, Sancho, and I thought that's class. But I'm thinking, has this all taken place? Like your actions, the way you behave now, because you didn't have someone to do that for you?
So I think 2 things. So I think yes to that question, because with my kids, I want to be the complete opposite to what my father was. as in being present. Literally. So I would spend literally as much time as I can with them, because I think there's no better gift than spending time with your child. So I will make sure that every single day, without fail, I will do the school runs, no matter how busy I am.
Okay.
It's just, Monday to Friday, 9 o'clock, I'm in the car with the kids doing the school run. 3:30, I'm in the car with the kids doing the school run. All my staff know this. My PA knows this. Anybody that asks for a meeting in between those times or wants to do anything, she's like, no, that is school run time. Tru does not play when it comes to school runs. So that's always fixed in my diary. And the reason why I like to do that is because I get the best out of my kids during that time. They're the most conversational. If there's anything on their mind before they go into school or before they start their day, they're going to let me know. And if anything's happened during the day at school, or whether they're worried about anything on the way home, they would let me know. And then I always spend Saturday with them. So I earmark Saturday as a day that I spend with the kids. And then I always try and have individual time with all of the kids. I'm probably, and I know I could do more. I know I could do more, but I'm probably overzealous with it because I know that is something that I didn't have. So I'm like, no, these have to be fixed time that I share with the kids. And then I think, but on the flip side, growing up, I don't think it affected me. And probably because I didn't know any better. What was normal for me was mummy and my siblings. It's not like I grew up with him until the age of 10 and then he left. And then I didn't, do you know what I mean? I barely have any kind of memories with him. So for me, it's like, I don't think, maybe subconsciously when I was a kid, I'll be affected by it. Or maybe if I go to school and there's parents' evenings and, people have both parents there and I've just got my mum, maybe I can't even remember, I probably would have been like, well, why don't I have that? But actually, what was normal was me having a single parent. And I think that was the norm for us. And actually, that kind of echoed throughout the schooling system that we were in anyway, because we went to an inner city school and most parents were single. It wasn't abnormal to have a single parent, So we were kind of all one. So yeah, it's just but yeah, it's I don't feel like I was affected by it when I was growing up. But
is that the same for your siblings?
No, we're all different. Okay. So I know that some of my siblings, and there's different variables because I'm the second to youngest. So my older ones would have had memories with him, so they would have probably been more affected by him leaving. Hence why they they speak to him now, and it's not like big conversation or anything, but they're in contact with him. Whereas I'm like, I don't need to be, because if it's not broken, why fix it? I don't believe that him being in my life would serve a purpose, and I just think, well, why now?
You grew up with no father, and you had a single mom. And how many siblings do you have?
7. Shout out mummy, because
that is a hard task. But yeah, she done it. But how was life growing up?
I loved my childhood.
Financial wise.
So it was hard. Definitely hard. I'm not afraid to say, we've come from humble beginnings. We were sleeping in the same bed, like 3 of us in one room. So it was very, very difficult. We hand-me-downs, clock. And I was the second to youngest.
Yeah. So you got all of that.
I had like 3rd and 4th hand-me-downs, and I'm like, can they get hand-me-downs anymore? But our life was, we were happy. And when I say we were happy. Money could have made us happier. I'm not going to lie, but we didn't live a unhappy life because we didn't have money. And I think that's the difference. We had a lot of fun times. Our family was really close. So we had, we've got memories that would last us for a whole entire eternity. And, my mum, who's just an incredible woman, taught us many things. 6 of us, are boys, and my oldest is the girl, my sister. But, all of us know how to cook, wash, iron, like all of the things that my mum kind of taught us. We just had a really, really great childhood. And I think it's because my mum was such a hard worker, and we didn't feel like we went without. And we did go without, but we never felt like we went without, like we were hungry, but we were full at the same time. And I think it's all down to my mum.
So on that, what age did you get your first job?
I think 15, probably.
15.
My proper first job would have been, 15, where I went on like payroll and stuff like that.
Where was that?
It was at a hotel in West Brom. Okay. I used to travel because my cousin worked there. So I was like, I need you to get me a job because I need money. And then she got me a job there. And then I got my brother a job there. And then we all just worked there. But yeah, so that was my first ever like proper job. Before that, I used to do like crappy jobs like paper round. Well, it's not crappy. No disrespect to anybody that's doing paper rounds. Just keep in there. Do your thing. But yeah, so I used to do like little jobs like that. And I remember there used to be a shop called Quidzin. Is it Quidzin?
Why do I feel like I've heard that?
Was it Quidzin? Used in Newtown Shopping Centre. You're like too young for this. You're like too young. But any of my nostalgia, any of my people from Newtown would know about Quidzin. There was Quidzin and Big Deal.
Was it in the shopping centre?
Yeah. And like me and my brother used to go there every Saturday, and we probably when we were like 10, and we used to pack these things, and they used to give us like £5 every Saturday. Which was a kind of job, I guess. But my first proper job was in a hotel.
Okay, so I spoke to my mom, and I think it was, correct me if I'm wrong, the date, 2008, 2009, you was working in the drum. Now, where does personal branding come into this, and where does it start? Because I've seen your page, and the way you personal branded your social media, from Instagram to LinkedIn to even your YouTube and even your own website, spot on. So where does personal brand come into this?
So when I was working at the drum, I wasn't thinking about personal branding. I wasn't even thinking about running my own business, if I was being honest. I was just thinking about getting through uni and making money. So at the time I was working at the drum. So I was working at the drum full time, but I was also at uni. And I didn't want to take out any loans or anything from uni. So the only way that I could sustain myself during uni is working full time.
With your brother as well? Your brother used to work there too?
Yeah. No, he didn't actually. He didn't used to work at the drum, but he used to come in all the time.
I do remember as a kid, I'm sure, that's how, when I came across your Instagram, I'm like, I'm sure recognizing him somewhere. And I said to my mom, do you know who this is? She's like, yeah, true. He used to work with him in the drum. You not recognise him. I'm like, he's got a twin in it. And she's like, that's who it is.
Yeah. So, man. So going back some years now, but I used to do the drum and work full time, and that's the only way I knew how to fund myself during university. Yeah. And then when I left the drum, I went to a company called Marketing Birmingham. And they asked me to head up their events, their corporate events. That's probably when I started to think about my network, and I started to think about life beyond my job. Because this position was actually quite a high profile position. You have this big organisation that is responsible for the whole of the marketing for the city, and they do several different campaigns. and I'm there, little old me, heading up their corporate events. And I'm talking about politicians coming to the city for briefings.
Was you still at uni at this time? Or
No,
was
no,
this
I
after?
left uni by then, and I was before I went to marketing Birmingham. And, you know, I'm talking about, you know, big wigs in the city, the managing directors of, you know, Selfridges and John Lewis and all of these big organisations I'm doing events for. And obviously, I'm thinking there's no way I can let this opportunity pass without me talking to them. And social media wasn't really a thing then.
What year was this?
I'll probably say 2010, 2011. So Facebook was a thing.
So you got on it early.
Yeah, but LinkedIn and stuff and
Instagram weren't really
it wasn't really a thing. So your impression was your personal brand was your networking and just getting out there and showing people who you are. And that's when one of the few times where my blackness served as an advantage, because I was used to be the only black person in the room. So immediately I'm memorable, whether it was for the right or wrong reasons.
Yeah.
I'm memorable. And the fact that I was memorable, I had an opportunity to be memorable for the right reasons. And I just used to network with all of them. And, you know, my wife tells me all the time, I used to go through the list, and there used to be like 200 people that attends these events. And I used to line by line and just remember who they were, what their names were and what their positions were. So we're talking like directors from the NEC and stuff like that, and from the airport, and like big senior people that runs the whole thing. And I used to think, you know what, I need to remember exactly who these people are. And I used to say the names back and kept reading it all. And I used to get my wife to test me and say, right, you know, ask me who the CEO is of the airport. And I used to say Paul Keogh, like immediately.
Remember the name?
I had to, because I knew that one day these are the people who I'm going to be doing business with. I knew in my head that I needed to know who these people were, because I knew that I'm going to be doing business with these people. And it's ironic because last week we did something at the Chamber Awards, this big massive gala event, and my team was there doing some entertainment. And Paul Tandy, shout out Paul Tandy, who's the CEO of the NEC group, the whole entire NEC group, messaged me and was like, Tru, that was the most incredible and inspiring thing I've ever witnessed.
Yeah.
And I remember literally reading his name and learning his name and thinking, I need to know who this person is. And it was just a full circle when he knew who I was and he's messaging me, and I'm like, right, how did he even get my number? And all night I'm racking my brain thinking, how did he even get my number? Like,
so how did he get your number?
I have no idea.
No idea.
I have no idea how he got my number, but he must have
connections. Isn't it?
He must have got it from somewhere, because he messaged, and it's just powerful. And that's one of the things that I would always say. Networking is the biggest tool ever to build your brand, and being around the right people and getting people to remember you for the right reasons, and just really understanding who the person is and what they can do for you, but also what you can do for them. And I think it's a three-way thing. And I just think just be mindful about your network and just keep building it.
I want to ask you, a lot of people face anxiety when trying to speak to people in real life, especially when they want to network. Like, they may want to network, but they're scared, or they just have fears in the back of their mind. Did you have any of that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. When I used to do the events and I used to try and remember who the people were and stuff, I used to not want to say anything. I was shaking, oh my God. Like, and it was difficult. And that was because I wasn't fully aware of my own source, and I wasn't confident in my delivery and what I could do. So that's where it was a bit of, if you like, imposter syndrome, where I didn't think or knew like the power that I had within me. And of course that affected how I then talked to and communicated with people who I perceived as, whoa, like I'm looking up to you and stuff. And it's insane. And now I'm fully aware of who I am and what I can do and what I can deliver. And it's completely different. I just talk to people normally now and it's just like the other week I went to the Pride of Birmingham Awards and it's insane because the CEO from Marketing Birmingham, it's now called the Growth Company, he was the CEO when I was there. And I hated going into his office. Like I was a nervous wreck. Every time he would call me into the office, I used to be a nervous wreck. Me and him was just sitting next to each other at the table and we was just talking and he was like, oh my God, I'm just so proud and on all of this stuff. And I'm like, yeah, Neil, come and take a selfie and blah, blah. I would never have done that before. But obviously now I know like what I can deliver and what I can bring to the table. And, you know, he sponsors my events and stuff like that, which is insane and all cool. So it's, you know, it's a journey. And I think it's about the more you achieve, the more comfortable and confident that you'll get. And then the more then you'll become more confident to speak to who you quote unquote perceive to be, I guess, more senior than you.
So what does it mean to be black and successful? Because a lot of the stuff I send you in, the key words which I see mentioned, young black entrepreneur, black and successful. Like, I don't ever hear white and successful. So why is it you feel like the colour's very specific?
You know, I just love saying black. I just love saying black. And the reason why I love saying black, because usually black is associated historically with negative connotations. In the media, it's, you know, black gang or, you know, black crime, or it's always most certainly associated with, you know, negative. And when someone commits a crime, when it's a black person, their ethnicity is always necessary. And apparently, allegedly, but when it's a white person, they don't mention their ethnicity. So I make a point that when we're doing something positive, whether it's business, whether it's sport, entertainment, whatever we're doing that's positive and that we're making waves, I'm going to highlight the word black because I think it's important that we shout about, you know, black successes, black love, like black families. Like, it's celebrating blackness. And, you know, I think we need to do it. I just think and I love being black. I don't think, you know, as much as hard as it is and as unequal as things are, I wouldn't be any other race. You know, I wouldn't be any other ethnicity. I think black is powerful. Black is unique. Black is cool. Black is hip. Everybody wants to be black.
True.
And I just think, you know, we hold greatness. I mean, look at our lineage. Look at what they've achieved. Look at what they've overcame, and we're still here. We're still standing. I don't think any other race could have overcame what we've overcame and still be great. Some of the greatest people in the world are black, you know, in different industries are black. And I just find that so incredibly, like, just inspirational and powerful. And we just long live black, long live black.
Long live black.
Long live black. So as a black community, what do you think we could do more to be more together and successful? Because I do hear a lot of people think the black community is segregated, as if they think it's me against him or they against them. How do you think as a community we could come together more to achieve more?
We need to, and you know, we need to collaborate more. And you're right, we are segregated. We don't support each other. But I don't believe that it's all our fault.
Really?
No, I don't.
Whose fault?
I believe it's society's fault. I believe, and the reason, because some of the reasons why we don't collaborate is because, and I've experienced this, is because usually it's this kind of crabs in the barrel mentality, meaning, and what I mean by that is usually there's only space for one black person or one black organisation. Where in contrary to other races where there's loads of seats at the table and many people can do many different things from the same race and still be successful. Usually when it comes to black people, we only need one person on this board, or we only need one black person at this seat, or we only need one black company doing this, or we're only going to support one black company. So it means that unfortunately, everybody wants to get ahead. So they're fighting, or we're fighting for that one space or that one spot.
Yeah.
And that's partly the reason why we don't work together, because we're competing with one another, because there's not enough room or space at the table for all of us to eat. And I think that needs to change.
Is that done intentionally?
Yeah.
To keep us segregated?
Yeah, of course, 100%. And it's always been like that. It's always been, well, it hasn't always been like that. We usually never got any seats, to be honest. But, since George Floyd and what's happened there, and people are aware, people are like, okay, let's open up the doors slightly, like just drive it open slightly so, we can get one black person in. And everyone's fighting to get in that door. And I think that's partly the reasons as to why we don't collaborate. But for me, I think we need to support each other, and I think we should be saying, okay, this is where we are, this is the circumstance that we're in. They're only going to let one of us in. You take this one, and the next time I'll take this one, and the next time that person will do that one. So we're still working together, but we're more strategic as opposed to trying to fight and get in every door.
Okay, so why do you feel as if, because from what I'm getting from that, it feels as if they don't want us to win. It feels like they only want one person from these people to win. So why do you feel like they only want one person to win instead of more than one?
So to answer your question, they don't.
They don't want us to win.
They don't want us to win because the fear, just like what I was saying earlier about blackness being great and blackness being powerful, they fear that if things start to become equal, they would lose. White supremacy is a dangerous thing. It's a dangerous thing. And what I mean by that is, some white people will work really, really hard to maintain their position in society. And by default, if we was to take more access, then they would lose and they would have less. And some people don't want that. Some people don't believe in equality. Some people don't believe that we should have 50-50. They believe that it should be 90% here and black people deserve 10%. And that is part of the problem. And, white supremacy is a huge, huge beast. And until some people decide that they want equality, and by that I mean white people, until they decide they want equality and they're willing to give black people access, and by default, they may lose a bit, but they're fine because it's equality, right? Until they get to that point, then they'll never want us to win.
I don't know if it's asked this. Do you feel like equality could ever be achieved?
Not in our lifetime.
Not in our lifetime?
No.
I don't think it can be achieved.
No. I think there's...
Personally.
I stay hopeful. And if I didn't, I wouldn't be doing the work that I do. And I wouldn't be speaking about certain issues. And I stay hopeful for not my kids, but maybe my children's children may have a better life and a more equal life. But it would never be in our lifetime. I think there's too much to undo. There's too much that has been done. And there's too many people who don't want to lose their access and lose their privileges. And because of that, it will never ever in our lifetime be equal.
So we would always be, would you say, in a way, inferior in that kind of aspect?
Yeah. Always. We'll always be the bottom of the barrel.
Have you experienced it yourself?
Of course, all the time. Like you know, I can work really, really hard and not get the same access or opportunity than, you know, my white counterparts, to the point where I might just have to create my own thing.
That's what I was thinking. I was thinking, do you reckon if black people came together and actually created something of their own, we would prosper more?
For now, but it's not a long-term solution. I do believe that we need to be building our own. I do. I believe that we need to be, where we're not recognised or seen or accepted, then we create our own tables to eat off. 100%, I'm a huge believer in advocating that. But I also believe that it's not a long-term solution. I believe the long-term solution is equality. The long-term solution is we shouldn't have to create our own. We shouldn't have to create our own spaces because of lack of opportunity or because of inequality. We need to get to a point where we shouldn't have to do that and everybody's equal.
So in business, you being the only black man in the room most of the time, how did you play that part? How did you make yourself stand out in the correct way?
Spokey. I just played the game. I just spoke the language, and we call it code switching, or assimilate. You know, we leave our culture at the door.
Articulate.
You know, yeah. So, you know, we leave B6 at the door and B19 at the door before we walk in.
Step into B74.
Right? Like we switch it up and we play the game, and we speak their language, and you know, it's something that needs to be done, and we need to do that to get on in life. And
okay, would you say that's authenticity? Because one of the first things you said about building a personal brand is being authentic.
Yeah, correct. And I absolutely agree. And I think now I don't. Now I would rock up in, you know, anyway. But when I was starting out and I wanted to get ahead and I wanted to, you know, kind of win the business, if you like, I thought that was the right thing to do. I thought, actually, I want corporate work. I need to talk the corporate language.
All right, so Tru, I understand you was in uni when you was working at the drum. What was you studying?
Marketing, communications, and culture studies. Yeah.
Because I noticed you got your business doctorate. So let me refer to you as doctor.
Yes.
Dr.
Yes.
Tru Powell.
Use the correct title.
And I've seen in your caption, you left it say, yo, it's Dr. Tru Powell now. That all refers to me as that. So what does it mean to obtain such an achievement, such as being honoured as well?
You know, I think when I first got the call, I didn't quite believe it, because I don't think I know anybody from the ends where I grew up that has been given such a prestigious honour in that way. And
Talent.
And I was just, and at first I was like, who? Like, me? And it took me a while, and then and I got a call late at night, you know, by a lady called Dishad, who's just an incredible. She's the dean at Arden University, and I've known her for a long time, and I used to sit on the board with her at the Chartered Management Institute. So we've just developed quite a great relationship, and I do a lot of kind of lecturing in the universities that she's worked in. So she called me late at night and said, look, we've had a board meeting and we've discussed this, and we absolutely believe that you need to be given this prestigious honour for all the work that you've done in business. And I'm just like, oh my goodness me, this is absolutely insane. And I think what I appreciated about it was, it wasn't necessarily where I am now and why I was given the honour, even though I've achieved some great things throughout my life in business. Yeah. But it was more so what I've achieved coming from the starting point, because as we've mentioned earlier, like, life was very, very difficult in the beginning stages of, you know, of growing up. You know, we didn't have much, and we didn't have lots of opportunity. So I've literally had to claw myself out of poverty and find a new way of life and find a new mentality, a new way of thinking, which getting the mentality right is a huge, huge task anyway. Like, it's really difficult to even switch your mentality to, I can be this and I can do that. But then to actually go and do it and to be who you visualized, I think is just powerful. And I think that's what I kind of took from the whole experience. And it kind of just made everything that I've been working towards today worth it.
All right, so I heard you mention you've never seen anybody do that from the end, especially our colour. So I'm saying, who was your first like black inspiration?
You know what? I didn't really have. I guess it would have to be my mum, because
For real?
I didn't. Yeah, like we didn't have much inspiration around us and role models. But I think what I appreciated from my mum is the tenacity and the hard work and the drive, and just, these are our circumstances, but I'm going to do whatever I can to get us out of these circumstances. And that's what I picked up, and it was just mad inspiring just to see her get up day to day and reclaim some of her life back and just build. And yeah, it's just, she's an incredible.
Just call you like Tru, proud of you, big man on the TV.
No, what?
Successful.
No. We're gonna be honest. I think she's only just started to realise kind of what I do. And it's weird because obviously I'm a twin, but my brother's a deputy head teacher at a school. So, for half of my, if not, more of my entrepreneurial career, my mum would always be like, why can't you get a proper job like your brother? Okay, True, you need a proper job like your brother. You said you wanted to be a doctor, you said this. I'm like, Mummy, I do have a proper job. Mummy, thanks, like I'm good. But now I think she really understands like the impact and the work that I'm doing. And my biggest thing is I'll be looking to retire my mum in the next 2 years.
Yeah. Amazing. Amazing.
Yeah, she would. Yeah,
you heard it here first.
Yeah, you heard it here first. We will retire mummy in the next 2 years.
I want to know what you did to make your personal brand this way.
I was very consistent. I think that's the biggest thing when you're building your brand. You need to understand what you want to be known for, understand what you're really good at, and then you have to start being consistent with the delivery of that. And I think a lot of people think, and this is where I struggle with personal branding, because a lot of people think that personal branding is social media. And so we just get a few likes on social media, build up my social media platform, and then I've got a strong personal brand. But actually, it's not. There's so many more different facets, and I look at personal branding like an octopus, and you've got multiple different legs to make it work, multiple different facets in order for it to work. And it can't work on one leg alone, which is social media. But you've got different things like, winning awards, doing a podcast, writing blogs, all of these, getting featured in the press. All of these different facets work together in order to make your personal brand work. And I always thought to myself that I'm going to be a boss in all of these areas. I am going to be in the press. I am going to have a podcast. I am going to write blogs. I am going to win multiple awards. I am going to do all of these different things, but do it to a really, really high standards. I'm going to sit on boards. Anything that could position me as an expert and give me credibility to build my brand, I'm going to do, but I'm going to do it to a very, very high standard, and I'm going to be very consistent in that. And then I'm also going to make sure that my businesses are shit hot, the watertight, and they're providing the life that I want to live. And me doing that and being consistent with it, just over time, allowed for the brand to just grow and to blossom to the point now where people kind of know who I am and appreciate and respect kind of the value that I bring to certain spaces. And I'm just really humbled by it, to be honest. I'm really humbled by it.
Do you remember your first press release?
I do, actually.
Tell me about it.
I do. So I do, and the reason why is because it was the first time that I won. I think it was in 2017 or 18, maybe, and I won an award, and it was Birmingham's Young Professional of the Year award for the business that I was running, and it was this big, massive award. It was at the ICC. There was like 1,200 people there. It was a huge. Everybody wanted this award. I was the only black guy to win it in like, it's been going for like over 100 years, and I was the only black, or the third black person to win it anyway, but the only black person to win it in like a few years or whatever it was. So it was a big, massive accolade. And I remember thinking, you know what, whether I win, lose, or whatever, this is a huge thing, so I need to be featured in the press. So I wrote 2 press releases. I wrote one for me to win it, and the second one if I didn't win it.
Okay.
And then
Prepared, you know.
yeah. And then I sent it to the press. Embargoed. Embargoed means that you can't release it until a certain date and time. And the reason why I sent it to the press, because on the night of the awards, I was flying out because it was my boy's stag and I was the best man. So we was going marbs. So the awards finished at like 12, but my flight was at like 2 at Birmingham Airport or something crazy like that. So I took all my things with me to the awards. I had like my case. It was only a weekend away. But I had like my case and stuff with me. And I just remember like winning. Everything was a blur. I just was thinking, wow, this is actually really happened. And then obviously the press already had the press releases because I sent it embargoed. I was on a high, and then I remember going to the airport, jumping on the flight, and then landing in Marbs. I think I landed at about maybe 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning. Turned back on my phone, and then it was just blowing up all in the like everywhere. You know, black boy defies odds. Becomes young professional of the year. All of this stuff, and I was just like, and then my phone just kept going off and off and off, and I was just like, wow, this is actually insane. Just seeing my picture and my name in the press, and then people messaging me saying, oh, we've just saw this article and we want you to do some work for us. And I'm just like, look, I'm chilled. I'm on holiday now. Like and then I got to
It's on Monday.
Literally, and then I got to the place, checked in the hotel. And then obviously everyone, day parties, so everyone was drinking and stuff. And as soon as I got to the beach party, they were like, yeah, Tru. It was like, I felt a bit bad because it was my boy's stag, but obviously everyone was like celebrating me. But then we just started drinking and just having a good time. And I just remember that whole experience because it was just kind of like a whirlwind. It was like just very, very strange.
Start on top.
But yeah, it was a very, very good feeling to have. And I think it was the fact that I was going away and like not being in touch with the outside world, and then like stepping into a new country, into the heat, and then my phone's on, and I'm just like, wow, like this is insane.
Life is good.
Yeah, man, life was good.
With where you are right now at your journey, what do you think's next for you? Because I'm guessing you still plan to be around for a very long time.
Yeah, I think there's quite a few things that I want to do. My businesses are not where I would like them to be, so there's scaling those and making sure that there's huge growth.
Is there an end goal
in those? There always is an end goal. So I've got a particular figure that I want to make.
Okay. Can you disclose that?
Now, when I make it, you'll know. And then I want to sell, exit.
Okay.
And then I want to retire my mum from the exit.
Okay.
And then do different other things. But I think for me right now is really kind of supporting and helping and, entrepreneurs and CEOs and leaders and spreading the message around personal branding. I feel like that's something that I've truly benefited from with running my own businesses and understand the power of it and what it can do for your business. So I'm very, very passionate about feeding that information through to other entrepreneurs and leaders and salespeople and CEOs and anybody who wants to build something. I think having a strong personal brand is key. So I'm doing a lot of that work.
Would you say that first award that you won, well, was it your first as well? Or was it?
The first big award, like I won, no shade to these other awards and I'm not going to mention them, but I won a few periphery awards for want of a better word.
Okay.
But yeah, BYPY was a big deal because everybody wanted.
BYPY.
Yeah, everybody wanted that award. And, but sadly.
What was that week like coming back? I couldn't imagine. Your phone's been popping the whole weekend and it's like, yo, Monday come straight back to it.
Yeah, straight. You know what? I got back into the country on Tuesday and I just went straight back to work. I used the weekend to celebrate and that was my time. And then we've flown back on the Monday, I think. And then the Tuesday I was back in the office and we had a little bit of a team lunch and a celebration and stuff. But other than that, we were like guys, come on, we've got shit to do. We haven't got time to be resting on our laurels. Like the award win is great, but
Keep going.
we have to keep going.
Was that award your big breakthrough? Like, did TV come after that award?
Nah.
What? TV was before.
No, TV was after that award, but I don't think the award was my breakthrough. I think there's loads of little things. So it was part of it, so it gave me credibility, and it helped the business to grow. But I wouldn't necessarily pick. I don't know. I think where I am there wasn't a defining breakthrough moment. I think just things built incrementally. I don't think it would be fair to say that there was a one defining moment that was like, okay, boom, I've landed. Like I don't think there was ever that moment. It's just grown incrementally, and little things have happened every step of the way. That's just added to the growth.
Yeah. Okay, so looking from a holistic view now, looking back on from where you started to the person you are now, are you every part of that person you thought you was gonna be?
No.
Nah.
What's missing?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't know what's missing, but I didn't. I knew that I would. I'm trying to articulate my work.
You can have time to finish.
I knew that I was going to be successful, but I didn't realise that I will be as successful as I am. And I'm not talking about just, the businesses or, financially or, the network or anything like that. But I'm genuinely happy with life. And I think, my family and my friends and just being able to be free and do things that I wanted to do and being able to pick up the phone and call certain people who I never thought I would be, friends with, and...
Could you call Stephen for us?
Wow. Wow.
Put him on speaker. Yeah.
And yeah, I think that's where I'm flawed, and that's where I'm kind of like speechless, and because I knew I would be successful, but I didn't think that I would be successful and happy, if that makes sense. I thought,
That sounds like a blessing to be happy.
Yeah, you hear a lot of stories about successful people and, you know, money is the root of all evil and so forth. And, you know, you work hard and you don't have a family to go home to and all of this stuff. And all of that's true, you know, that can happen. But I think in my situation, I've been incredibly lucky. Like, I do work hard, but my family really understand it. And even though I make time for my family and stuff, we're just really happy. And I think it defies what people think success is.
I was literally about to ask you, was there any point that you had to like cut family time just so you can work more?
Yeah, 100%. There are definitely like.
There's been repercussions.
Well, yeah, because sometimes I have to miss like football matches or like, you know, concerts or recitals or stuff like that I would genuinely want to go to, but I have to work. Date nights, you know, that I would genuinely want to go to, but I have to be at certain events or doing X, Y, Z. You know, I've missed, you know, my mum's 50th birthday celebration because I had to work. And
as well.
yeah, and you know, and things like that where, you know, has been really difficult. But
would you do it again if you had the chance?
no. It's a learning process, and every day I'm learning, and every day I'm reclaiming a little bit back and thinking, how can I do things differently? I say I probably wouldn't, but being in this situation and thinking, oh, if I just work on this, if I just get this contract, I'll be all right. You're just pushing for the next thing.
Do you still do that now?
Depends on what it is. You know, it depends on what it is. I'm fortunate enough that I don't have to work as hard as I used to win business, because the brand kind of does a lot of the work for me. Yeah. To be honest. But it's like, if there is a big contract that I want and that I need, I'm gonna
go for it,
push for it and spend some time. So you know, I can say this is half the press, but I wanted to work with Lloyds Bank, and you know, I've been speaking to the regional director about doing a big piece of work with them, and I spent some time over the last 2 weeks, you know, writing this proposal and submitting and stuff, and just Tuesday, Thursday, Tuesday, they signed it off, and
nice. Congrats.
So
Congrats.
There'll be a collab with Lloyds Bank coming out, which is a really good contract, and yeah, man, it's good.
The smile says it.
Yeah.
Trying to keep you humble.
Yeah, but you know, it's it's
you can smile. You can smile.
You know, and
I done it.
you know, and you know, I haven't felt like that in a while. I haven't felt like I really wanted to secure this contract, and also it's, you know, it's a long term. It's a 3-year contract, a 3-year project.
That's sustainability.
So it just feels good, and also obviously Lloyd's, the sponsor, the awards that I do as well, which is a big thing. So, and they're the headline sponsor for that. And then they come on board to do this project. And then I'm doing some more work with them across another project as well. So it was just like an amazing feeling to have that signed off.
Did you know that this business you're in would be so lucrative?
Yeah.
100%.
Because I do my research and I know what the market's saying, and I know, you know, what people want, and especially now, we're doing a lot more kind of coaching and consultancy work, but we're being a bit smarter and running it across digital platforms. So it means that we can create a digital product, give license for that digital product, that it can be used year in, year out, but it means that we're getting paid year in, year out, because and we're not doing anything. It's what we call some evergreen model. So it's just recorded once,
and it's just,
and then
you don't have to do anymore.
Yeah, and I think it's really surprising. So just going back slightly to the question, I knew it would be lucrative, but I didn't realise how quickly it could grow.
Okay.
And I remember being in lockdown, and I remember, all my businesses closing, and I remember thinking, shit, I need to do something.
Yeah.
And then I thought, what skills do I have? What can be monetized? Like what network have I got? What can I do? And then I remember one of my friends saying, you've done so much around building your brand. Why don't you do something around, getting into the press or something like that? And I was like, but people want to know that. I don't get it. And she was like, yeah. So I spent probably a day researching, and then I spent a day writing this course, a really short course. And then I spent an hour recording it on Canva, really basic, loads of mistakes, as in, we're going, now you do this, now you want to find out what TV program you're, now you do, and literally so just flat, unconfident, just really basic. And then I thought, I'm going to charge it at like 30 quid or 40 quid or whatever it was. So I put it out there, and within a month, it made 10 grand, and I was like...
For 30 quid?
And I was like...
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
How on earth have I just made 10k from recording a day and recording it at home on Canva and just doing nothing? Like, I went on Clubhouse and I spoke about it a few times and said, guys, go and download my course. You want more information, go and download my course, blah, 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 blah. Put it on my website. And literally, it made 10k over a month. And don't get me wrong, like I wasn't pushing it out in the news or anything, but I was doing a lot of news appearances and stuff. So people must have been Googling or whatever. But literally, it made 10k in a month. And I was thinking... like
it's a bit more serious.
This is actually more lucrative than what I thought it could be. So I best believe after that I researched every facet of the market, understood who my customers were, understood how I was going to get these products, what products were needed, and then we just kind of started building from there.
So how many streams of income do you have within this niche currently?
So quite a few, I'll probably say 5. So coaching is one of them. So we do one-to-one coaching.
I saw that.
And consultancy.
Yeah.
We do a group coaching program. So I've literally just finished a group coaching program, and that's where I bring about 25 entrepreneurs together online every week for 6 weeks for about an hour and a half on Zoom. And I deliver a program on building your brand. But it's great because you're delivering your course at once to everybody, and everybody applies the principles rather than you doing one-to-one. But you do that 3 times a year, 25 people. Everybody pays a bag.
Yeah.
And it's a 6 weeks course on Zoom for an hour that I've written. It took me a long time to write and perfect and stuff, but it's there, And so that's probably what I enjoy the most, because I get to speak to people, but it's a group setting, so I get to conversate with a group. Then we have the online digital assets, so those courses online. I think I mentioned the one-to-one stuff that I do.
You might change, is that what you said?
So
what did you just say?
the digital assets or the one-to-one stuff?
The one-to-one stuff.
Yeah. So I do one-to-one work with entrepreneurs and different kind of CEOs.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's a lot more expensive.
So what's been like some of your best clientele?
Oh,
Because I know you worked with the guy from is it Ben from Gymshark. That's a certainty. That's a certainty on that.
you know, he came on my podcast. Bless him. Such a great guy. And I did some work.
And you went Aston University.
Yeah, Aston University.
As well.
Yeah, and I did some work for him when he done his staff party or something. But yeah, he's amazing. But actually, the people who I love to work with are people who don't already have a strong brand. So, and you probably won't know some of these people, but this lady called Pamela Rakuli, who is just incredible. She came to me and didn't really have a strong brand and got this amazing product and book for children with autism technology. And now, you know, she's doing lots of work in the media, lots of work on, you know, with the book, and it's just insane. There's another guy called CJ, Lloyd Webley. I don't know if you would have seen or heard of him. He does this thing called the Black Pounds Project. He's doing some great work, and he's another one of my clients. There's just different kind of people who's done incredible things and who are literally building their brand, and I find it remarkable. I also have, I don't know if we spoke about this, but I also have the awards, which kind of talks to the building your brand. So it's the MBCC Awards, the Multicultural Business and Community Champion Awards, and that's where I get all my celebrity friends together, and and we just have it's a big black tie event that happens every year. We have about 800 people come, and we recognise and celebrate unsung heroes in the community and blah blah blah. But I think last year we had like Sir Trevor McDonald, who you probably don't know. You're probably too young for him, but he's like one of the pioneers in. He's like a national treasure to the UK. Just ask any person.
Ask any person
over. Yeah, ask any person over 30 who is Sir Trevor McDonald, and they'll tell you. It was like our granddad growing up. You know, when you're watching TV and you got the black man that's on constantly. That was Sir Trevor McDonald. And it's just a great event with quite a few different celebrities, and that happens every single year as well. So that's another one of the income streams. And then quite a few different things. The Academy. What else? That's it, I think.
That's it. All right.
I always ask
Personal
all our
question.
guests this personal question.
Oh.
And they always struggle.
Oh,
So,
wow.
good luck. It's not difficult, I don't think. But what's 7 things that you can't live without?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
That's exactly how they reply.
Well, Jesus Christ. Can't live without Jesus Christ, you know.
That's one.
So that's one. Family.
Family. Love that.
Food.
What type of food are we talking? Yard food?
Well, I can live without yard food because that's not good for me, even though I love it. But
It's not still what?
oh,
I don't want to.
but yeah, just food in general. What else? Gym and training.
Yeah. So you're in the gym today?
Yeah,
David
yeah,
Lloyd.
literally. Yeah.
You need to come. I'll be honest.
Oh, I'm there, and I can walk.
So what number are we on?
3 or 4, 3 more.
Work, business.
5.
And my ability to think critically and analyze things. I think I would just hate to live in a society where I'm not questioning certain things and not thinking, well, why does this happen and why does that happen and why are things not right here? So I think my ability to critically analyze and think about things, I think I could not live without that.
Last one now.
And 7, my blackness. I just couldn't live without. Yeah, I couldn't live without my blackness. I just This is yeah.
All right,
But
so
why 7 things though? Why 7?
I was gonna choose 10, but
Too hard.
I instantly
People struggle for
thought
7.
people are gonna struggle. And
Yeah.
I asked 7, and they still struggled, but I kept it at 7 anyway.
Yeah.
So
Okay, we got my personal question. So, if there's a question you would like somebody to ask you, what would that question be? Because a lot of the questions we've asked are for us to know, to learn about you.
selfish
So what would,
reasons.
exactly. So
What
what would
is
you like
reasons?
somebody to ask you that nobody's thought to ask?
Oh, this is a hard question. What would I want somebody to ask me?
Yeah.
Just, I don't know. No idea.
No idea. You ain't got
No idea.
His question is definitely harder, isn't it?
It's a lot harder.
Yeah,
I don't
A lot
know.
of people do have different reasons because, like, some people could be like, "Yo, no one's asked me how I'm feeling." I'm like, "Okay, that's how are you
true.
feeling?" Or no one's asked me about this project I'm trying to build. They'd be like, "Tell me about that project you're trying to build."
Okay.
Do you get what I'm saying? Or no one's asked me what I was like growing up, and I'm thinking, "Okay, so that's what you like growing up then." And then, but yeah. If you do think about it, you got my number ready.
Yeah.
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 But the final question was from our previous guest. And our previous guest said, "What's your biggest limiting belief you have right now?"
Ooh. So I try not to have limiting beliefs, but of course we do succumb to them from time to time, and I think mine will be making my performing arts academy that I've been probably leading for the last 15 years, maybe, making that a success. As in a sustainable model where it's financially successful. So that what it achieves is great and what we do is good, it's okay. But it's not in a position to be successful yet. And I don't know if we will ever get there because of the model's not right and the mission of what we try to achieve. So I think it's kind of be that, really, thinking about that.
Wow. We'd like to thank you very much, Dr. Tru Powell.
Thank
It's
you.
been an amazing experience.
Honestly, thank you. And this is incredible. And for you guys to be doing, how old are you now?
22.
Wow.
22.
Just turned 20, yeah.
Wow. Like, this is to take the initiative to launch your own podcast and to, work on your brand is just absolutely insane. And, I'm just thinking, I want to do something to help you boys.
Oh, yeah?
We'd
I do.
appreciate that.
And I'm gonna gift you some advertising space on a billboard to get this thing pushed out.
That is
We'll
sick.
probably do the bull ring.
I'm sorry. I tried to hold down my excitement, but I had to let that
No,
out.
honestly, I'll pay for it. It's on me. But honestly, we'll give you a few weeks.
Thank you.
So we can get the podcast on
That's sick.
in the bull ring on the big billboards and stuff in there.
That's scary.
Yeah.
Scary.
Yeah, no, honestly, just you've got my details for my PA. Just I'll message her, but just email and she'll sort out the details. But yeah, we'll get that done in the next couple of weeks so you can really push this. Because I'm just really proud and I think what you're doing is an incredible thing. So if there's anything that I can do to help, let me know.
Thanks.
Thank you very much. Thanks. Definitely appreciate it.
And see you in the gym.
Yeah, we're going to get a session in tomorrow.